Hey guys, SmallmouthCrush. I wanted to redo this intro and talk to you about a few things. First of all, I changed cameras, and today I was recording with a new one, and of course I had it in like narrow mode, so you're not going to see like a full picture of the fish catches because I screwed up. So deal with it. I'll figure it out. And then I also had some sound issues. So it was just a rough day with the cameras. But I wanted to talk about the trip today. My clients today wanted to go after some big fish. That was the goal, not numbers, none of that. And so we formed a game plan last night to figure out what we can do to help make that happen. And the plan was to go run a bunch of really good areas and see if we can get a heavy bag. I'm going to play some video clips in the background while I'm talking because I also have another interesting story. I had a follow-up, I guess, correspondence with the Canadian Mounties, Royal Mounties, and I want to talk about what happened yesterday, getting kicked out of Canada and how that got resolved, at least. I got a little bit of peace of mind. I want to explain that to you. I have a video of a phone conversation I had later today, and that's going to be towards the end. But let's get back to the guide trip today. So we started out deep. We fished some shallow stuff. We really ran around to a lot of different places, and the fish were scattered, and they were looking for big fish. And of course, the first fish they caught was like a pound and a half.
Oh wow, that's a giant out here. Get that camera close. Giant fish to start the day.
But we did figure it out. We didn't catch a lot of fish, but we ended up with just under 30 pounds. We were shy by a couple ounces. Biggest was 6.5. We had a 6.6, a 6.1, and some high fives. So we got a decent bag, but we had to work for them today. Even though it was pretty ideal conditions, somewhat, east wind, steady, but not too bad. But it was choppy out there at times. As you got closer to some of the shorelines, it would get a little bit better, but it definitely was a challenge. A great time with these guys. Tomorrow, I'll be heading out with Derek on the East Coast. So I'll have to babysit him all day. It's going to be windy and rainy and nasty out. So we're going to try to film some content. I don't know if I'm going to get a video up with our day tomorrow at all. So I have the next couple days off. So I promise you, if I guide, I will post a video. I was also scheduled to do some more filming on Monday, but that got canceled. So we'll kind of have to see how the next couple days go. But we got a few more days going hardcore, and we'll see what happens. So here's some good fish catches, hopefully playing while I'm talking, and then we're going to get into the issue with getting kicked out of Canada. Yes.
I can't see.
Sorry.
Got one? Large and in charge.
I think he's large.
Alright. Be some bigger ones up there.
Fucking blue. Got one too.
Okay, here's one we got another one on. Oh, that's a big one.
Came right off the
Got
other side of that rock. Fucking net. Shit. Come on, get out of the fucking net.
be another 6-pounder.
Yeah, we're just getting old and tired.
Oh yeah, that's a fucking big one. What do you call that one, Travis?
6.
I'd say. He's pretty big. Yeah, fucking
Yeah.
yeah.
That's why you drive around the whole frickin' lake.
Yeah,
You'll find them eventually. That's a beautiful fish. Look at that water, crystal clear.
I'd like to tell us, I think we were in charge of the free.
Right? That was on the East Coast open water sniper jig. Nice fish. What side do you think? Here?
Probably. I don't know if it's going to take that.
Skis? Oh, that's a good one. That's a big one. Sorry, I don't know what to do here.
Holy shit, dude. Oh, we gotta get it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Oh, that's good.
He's off. Now.
All right, so here is the phone call I had with the Canadians. Basically, what happened was they called and apologized and said it wasn't right what happened, but they don't have all the answers because they weren't able to talk to the dude with the bun, the man, what's it called? The hair thing. I don't think he was able to get back to me, but hopefully everything gets resolved on their end and we're good to go. So here's the conversation.
Confusion over the fishing and customs regulations. It all pertained to, I think, an interaction between you and some of my officers yesterday. So I just wanted to chat and clarify it. Because I think the confusion, at least from Mr. Miller's perspective, he thought there was concern because of the political tensions between the United States current administration and Canada.
Sure.
And I just want to assure you and him that that's not actually changed. Like none of the laws, regulations, or anything have changed. The only thing I can say, I don't know the specific details. My understanding is that you were just floating near a Canadian dock fishing yesterday. It's like my on base.
Yeah, well, I can tell you exactly if you got a second.
Yeah, go ahead, yeah, I do.
Sure. So I was basically fishing in front of the ferry dock, which is on Wolf Island, directly across from Cape Vincent. I was in my boat. We launched from the U.S. and we were just fishing obviously we were in international waters, but we were in Canada, and three, I guess, police officers. What do you call them? I don't understand. The RCMP, is that it?
Yeah, sorry, the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. It's the federal police service in Canada.
Okay. So one of them, there was two males and one female, and they walked down to the pier and requested that we come over and give them our driver's license. So we gave them our licenses, and it took about 15 minutes or so, and he came back and said, well, you guys are okay. Nothing came back negative, but I'm going to have to ask you to leave due to political tensions, and you have to go back to the U.S. And I was kind of like taken back by that because I was like, well, what the heck is going on here? So I just asked him, I go, are the rules different? Did the law change from last week? Because I was boarded by the Canadian. Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know all of the story from my subordinates' side yet. They're out on patrol right now.
okay,
And I did read. I did see the file in the queue, so I read it this morning. I just want to assure you that I don't this. I don't want to undermine my guys because I don't know this side of the story yet.
right?
The guys that were on shift we were dealing with yesterday don't. So you're in tune with the RCMP. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police is Canada's federal and national police service, and we fill a number of roles that would be equivalent in the United States. So my office is mandated border integrity, which would be an equivalent role in the United States to the United States Border Patrol. That's what you'd be familiar with.
Yep.
That we do.
Sure.
But the Royal Canadian Mounted Police also does terrorism investigations. So that would be like equivalent to the FBI. We also do close protective services, which would be equivalent to Secret Service. So because of the current state of the border, and I'll be honest, it's a knee-jerk reaction from the Trump administration. We're trying to beef up the border. We don't have the manpower, and we pull people from other program lines to supplement our numbers.
Yeah.
It just so happens that I had concerns that I have people without the requisite training and knowledge base to be doing border work, but I was happy in the fact that they're not Marine personnel. They're not going to stop the boats. So
Yeah.
what I think happened yesterday is you dealt with three members that are not from the Border Integrity Program, and I don't think they were familiar with what point you've actually come to land in Canada. So
Okay.
I've since spoken to one of them, and two of them I'm going to speak with by the end of the day.
Okay.
They're not back yet.
So
But
he.
I just want to assurance,
Okay.
just so we're clear, as an American citizen, you're an American boat, and you're actually in, when you depart, you're in American waters.
Yep.
But once you get to Wolf Island, there is a line in the sand where you actually transition back to Canadian waters.
Sure.
It's not like you use the term international waters, and that does exist. That is waters that is claimed by any sovereign nation, but there is none of that in the Great Lakes.
Okay.
Right? There's a portion of Lake Ontario that belongs to the United States. There's a portion of Lake Ontario that
Got it.
waters that belongs to the United States by Canada.
Yep.
And you're subject to the laws of the jurisdiction of the waters that you're in. It's
Sure.
not like they're in international waters, but that'd be like
Yep.
middle of the Atlantic where
Yeah.
that'll say rules don't apply. It's just a different set of rules.
Yep. I get that. Yeah.
So in this case, you have no because all of the Great Lakes and the St. Mary's River, Lake Sinclair, and St. Lawrence, all the way out dumping into the Atlantic. If you were to follow the shipping channel from Lake Superior all the way to the Atlantic, you're probably going to cross from Canada to the United States about 100 times.
Right.
Just because the shipping channel takes you back and forth. So there is agreements in place between our two countries that there's no need to report your entry into the other countries' waters because it gets ridiculous. We're dealing with hundreds of thousands of calls a day.
Sure.
And for what purpose? There's no real threat there.
Right.
So you are under no obligation to report your entries to Canada until one of the following three things happens. One, you set foot on Canadian soil,
Yep.
or come like moor up at a dock.
Yep.
Which point you now hit land. if you meet up with another vessel in Canadian waters,
Yep.
or you drop anchor in Canadian waters.
Yep.
And only those three things, once those happen, that triggers a requirement for you for your entry into Canada, and then a whole bunch of stuff happens.
Sure.
And none of that, is my understanding, none of that happened yesterday
No.
until they waved you over, because you probably came to a dock under the direction of the police officer waving you in. So,
Yeah.
So moving forward, you don't have to report into Canada until you meet up another boat, drop anchor, or hit a dock or hit land.
Okay.
And you are free to fish in Canadian waters, provided you have the proper license.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
And where you were yesterday, it's not federal jurisdiction, it's provincial jurisdiction. Federal jurisdiction for us, it's only in tidal waters, it's where you're meeting salt water.
Okay.
This is they can do the Great Lakes just like an inland lake anywhere else.
Sure.
So it's as long as you have an Ontario fishing license, you can fish there. Now you're still subject to Canadian laws while you're Canadian waters.
Yep.
So you can still be boarded under the Canada Shipping Act just to confirm that you've got the proper safety equipment.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, and then you have the proper fishing license, fishing, and that
Yeah.
you're not drinking alcohol,
Right.
that kind of stuff. But there's no need, there's no customs portion or immigration portion that would kick in until one of the three criteria is met.
Okay.
So I just want to let you know, like, there's no reason that you can't go fishing there again this afternoon if you wish to. There's no negative inference that will be drawn on you if you didn't want to come to Canada or across the border in the future.
Got it.
It was just, I think, at least in the brief conversation we had this morning, the guys thought that you were at the dock already and had reported in, and as they got there, they realized, no, he's not on the dock, he's just off the dock fishing. And I think it's because the guys that you were dealing with, they weren't guys that deal with border law very much. They were dealing with other set of programs like the bodyguards, terrorist guys, or whatever. And they're just trying to supplement. There's so few right here in this area right now.
Sure.
They were trying to supplement it, and I'll wear some of this myself as a supervisor. I had guys that are posted in Kingston in all of the teams that were deployed, so that I didn't run into these problems. However, one of them got pulled away last second for another incident. Some other stuff happening related to the election just went through.
Yeah.
And he's a local guy, and that knowledge base went with him. So I had I had six of them out there, none of them were in the border industry. But I thought it was safe because they weren't on the boats, so they wouldn't be dealing with this stuff for the most part. But just so happens you happen to be fishing so close to the shoreline. I allowed my office to get exposed a little bit there. So anyway, I just want to let you know, in my interpretation, you didn't do anything wrong. And they directed you to leave Canadian waters and go back to the United States. I think, although we actually do have the authority to do that under two different pieces of legislation, I think they were using it for the wrong reason. And I want to let you know that you're welcome to come back.
Awesome.
There's no negative inference here.
Okay.
I will make sure the guys are aware.
Yeah.
The rules are kind of already explained to you.
Okay. Because that's great. Because what the worst part was when I was leaving, he said, we have a report filed on you, and if you come back into Canada, you will be prosecuted. Those were his exact words.
Yeah, that won't be the case.
Okay.
That won't be like, how do I put this? If you were failed to report your entry into Canada, that could be the case.
Sure.
But you were obligated to report your entry into Canada because you hadn't made landfall or dropped anchor or met up with another boat.
Yeah.
And that's what I was getting at is my subordinates, I don't think they recognize the distinction of those requirements that are triggered once you violated the Customs Act were in effect at the time, because I think they were unfamiliar about the concept. It's called that, use air quotes, you can't see on telephone. It's called innocent passage.
Okay.
You can enter Canadian waters back and forth, same with Canadian and U.S. waters under innocent passage. And the same, weirdly enough, the triggers are identical. Like if we need to the Canadian boat, U.S. waters, and then up another boat, hit a dock, hit land, or drop anchor, all of a sudden they have to report it to Customs Border Protection or U.S. Border Patrol. But if they don't, and they're just fishing in New York State, or I was in Northern Ontario before, so Michigan, there's no requirement for them to do so.
Got it.
Yeah, so it's kind kind of community, we have very, very reciprocal kind of legislation, so the rules are pretty simple.
Got it.
So anyway, I just want to reassure you there won't be a negative inference on how to file if you've got a read like you. And I've already written a note on it saying that I think this was a misinterpretation, blah, 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 blah.
Awesome. Okay.
You don't have anything to worry about. Okay?
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate the call because I was concerned. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I figure as much. It's funny that, so what is your relationship with Mr. Miller?
So he probably follows me on social media, I would imagine. And probably is an angler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, yeah. So he kind of expressed some concern about the whole thing, and then he specifically mentioned you. It's probably, did you post something on social media?
Yeah. Yep. I have a pretty large following on social media, and I was like talking about it, so word got out, I guess.
Oh, and that's what. So I think it was kind of he was concerned in his own self-interest. Like,
Sure.
the rules changed it.
Yeah.
So the bottom line is, and you can put your social media too if you wish.
Yes,
The
I
rules
will.
have not changed. It was a unique misinterpretation that happened yesterday.
Okay.
Beyond that, everything is the exact same
Perfect.
as it would have been pre-November.
Yep. No, I called the border crossing today just to clarify. I was like, hey, I'm gonna go fishing in Canada. Do I have to call in? And they're like, are you gonna touch shore? And I said, no. They go, no, you don't have to call in. I said, well, that's how I always thought it was.
Yeah,
So,
and that is the case.
okay.
Again, I think my guys, but I don't have the benefit of knowing exactly the details from them. But the one I spoke this morning, he said that they were of the belief that you guys were already on dock. When they got there, they realized you weren't on a dock. It's just the angle they were looking at you over the water.
Sure.
In which case, I'm like, okay, he did hit the dock. Now he's obligated to report to entry, and then all that other stuff can cascade downstream.
Yep.
But in reality, guys, work in this industry, it doesn't just because you hit the dock doesn't immediately trigger negative stuff. Like, you have to have a reasonable opportunity to report. You pull on the dock, and you're like, oh, my phone's dead. We gotta go find a phone so I can report my entry.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, did you log on my end and ask someone for a cell phone or whatever? Like, it's got to be plain. And unless you're offloading a 100 kilos of cocaine or something like that, generally speaking, because Americans are good people. They're not a major threat. And absent bringing guns or drugs or people in the country, for smuggling purposes, most of the stuff we've found it, and I work in this industry, it's generally there's a plausible and reasonable explanation. You tend to not prosecute very much, so I wouldn't worry. A bit more on the county officials. Don't worry about the stop yesterday.
Okay.
Like I said, I think it went more quickly, and I think it's a misinterpretation of the rules.
Fair enough. Awesome. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem. Have a good day and good fishing.
All right. Thank you.
All right,
Okay. Yeah, bye. Well, there you go. Cleared that up. I figured I was in the right, but I apologize, man bun. I'm sorry for even saying that. I didn't know how to describe you, right? It's a unique feature. I gotta go. So there was a call. We're all good. We can head back over to Canada without an issue. Remember, as long as you don't touch land, anchor, or correspond with another boat in Canada, you do not have to call in or check. You're good to go. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And as always, until next time, we'll see you guys on the water.